A lot of people have misconceptions about what skepticism is, and one of the most frustrating is that people think that skepticism is essentially a synonym for atheism, which it's not. Most of the time, if you go to a skeptic conference, if you see a skeptic YouTuber, if you see a skepticism talk or something like this, the likelihood is they're going to be talking about religion and atheism, and that's the approach that they're taking. But skepticism is not that. Skepticism can lead you to atheism, as I believe it did for me, but skepticism is a process rather than an end. It's just the process of making sure that the beliefs that you hold, or at least the ones you're aware of holding, are in some way justified. But even that has problems because there are different kinds of justifications. But what that means is that you could be a perfectly good skeptic and analyze all of your beliefs, and in principle at least, come out exactly as you started, with the same beliefs that you started with. The only thing that will have changed is that now you'll have analyzed them and have some form of justification for them, and that's where the essence of skepticism lies. It's not in the positions that you end up with, but the way that you got there. I like to think that I applied skepticism to my own worldviews of originally Catholicism, but also things like carnivorism, or carnism, as Dr. Melanie Joy has tried to term it, which she thinks of as the ideological underlying force behind eating meat. I like to think that I applied skepticism to these things and essentially abandoned them, but I know just as many people who like to say that they've done the same thing, that they applied this kind of skeptical thought, but ended up being Christians, or ended up reverting from veganism to a form of, as one of my friends likes to call it, qualified conscience-based Christian veganism, which essentially means he eats salmon and eggs, but that's how he likes to justify it. So skepticism is definitely the process rather than the end that comes about. I've been surprised when I've applied skepticism. Many of my beliefs, most recently would be veganism. The fact that I was so catastrophically wrong about something that I did multiple times a day, so unbelievably, incomprehensibly wrong and ignorant in my view, it taught me that now basically any belief that I hold should be suspect, right? And one of the most difficult things is not applying skepticism, but finding out where to apply it, because everybody likes to say, yeah, I question my beliefs, and most people do. Most people have spent a bit of time thinking about religion or politics, ethics, this kind of stuff, but to be a skeptic, you need to not apply your skepticism just to those big questions, but also to what seem to be just banalities, right? Because before I considered animal ethics to be a serious field, it's not just that I kind of had a position on eating animals, it's that it just wasn't a moral issue. It's just your food. It's just your dinner. It's just your breakfast. This isn't the kind of thing that you would expect to apply skepticism to, right? And so when people like to say that they're skeptics because they question all of their beliefs, it's like, I'm not really interested when I'm trying to find the test of a true skeptic. I'm not really so interested in their skepticism as applied to those big questions. But when was the last time you thought about your diet? When was the last time you thought about the clothes you're wearing? I mean, I probably should have brought longer trousers, for example. When was the last time that you thought about your phone usage and how that might be affecting your attention span or mental health or this kind of stuff? Like these seemingly banal daily routines and actions are exactly the kind of thing that skepticism can most helpfully inform, because everybody knows that religion is an important issue, but maybe not everybody knows that food is an important issue in the same way. So half of skepticism is going to be trying to find out what to apply it to. So veganism was an example of one of the things that I applied it to, and I was highly surprised. Another is the non-existence of free will, as I see it, which is another thing that totally surprised me and completely undermines any traditional sense of ethics, and has a lot of brings up a lot of problems for the criminal justice system, for example. These kind of things are crazy, but on the surface, something like the fact that you choose what you do seems so trivially true that most people wouldn't even think to consider it unless you're in like a philosophical setting, like luckily we are this evening, and I'm looking forward to the debate, and I hope that I'll see some of you there.